What is up, everyone? Welcome back to GrayDays TV, and today I'm going to be talking about the Ashley Pond and Miranda Gaddis murders. Ashley Pond was born March 1st of 1989, and she was described as an easy child who could entertain herself and someone who really liked getting hugged. She was also very well behaved and lived a relatively normal life for a child whose mother was only 16 years old at the time of her birth. But then at the age of around 9 or 10, after her parents got divorced, her world basically changed forever. So during her parents' divorce, it came out that David Pond wasn't actually Ashley's biological father. Her real father was a man named Wesley Rotger. And after a while, Ashley began to visit Wesley and even stayed with him on some weekends. But as time began to pass, her friends and family noticed that Ashley began to act differently. And she soon began to actually resist going to visit her father. And to me, all signs point to either physical abuse or sexual abuse. And she actually eventually admitted to her mother that Wesley was sexually abusing her. So in January of 2001, Wesley was indicted on 40 counts of raping and sexually abusing Ashley. And sadly enough, even after leaving that horrible situation with her father, home life with her mother wasn't that much better. By April of 2001, because of problems at home, Ashley Pond began spending a lot of time at the house of one of her friends, who was the daughter of a man named Ward Weaver, and another friend named Miranda Gaddis. And according to the Portland Tribune, Ashley spent almost the entire first half of 2001 with the Weaver family. And she even joined them on a 2-week vacation to California in late June, early July. And life at home with her mother continued to deteriorate, which caused her to spend even more time with the Weaver family. But in early August, Ashley confided in a reading teacher of hers that Ward Weaver had been sexually molesting her. Now, of course, once she made these accusations, she stopped going to the Weaver household. And unfortunately, Weaver's daughter and her friends kind of ostracized Ashley for making these accusations and didn't believe her. Now, what happened next is a little weird. Weaver was actually never investigated or charged with the sexual assault of Ashley Pond. So I'm not really sure what sloppy mishandling mean. I'm guessing either they completely lost the statement that she made or they put it in the wrong place and just lost it and forgot about it. I'm not really sure, but to think that she put these charges against him, and if everything would have been handled properly, he probably would have been in jail way earlier and not been able to kill these two girls. It's amazing. But despite that, throughout the fall, Ashley's life actually began to settle down some. Her grades were improving, she was getting along with her mother a lot better than she used to, and even her personality, some said, began to come back to normal. So according to the Portland Tribune, on January 9th of 2002, Lori Pond, Ashley's mother, heard Ashley say goodbye around 8:15 as she headed out to the bus stop to catch the bus for school. Now, the bus stop was only 10 minutes away from the apartments where Ashley stayed at, but she never made it to the bus stop and she never made it to school. And despite the efforts of the local authorities and the FBI, no clues surfaced on what happened to Ashley Pond. So friends and family, including Miranda Gaddis, began searching for her.
It's really hard to believe that happened to one of your friends or something. It's just really different and really sad.
Now, Miranda and Ashley were friends, and they actually stayed in the same apartment building. They also shared similar past of having been sexually abused as children. Miranda was also sexually abused by her father, which is starting to make me think that this happens a lot more often than I thought it did, children being sexually abused by their parents. I honestly did not think that was something that happened as frequently as it seems as though it is. But the police did interview Miranda and other friends of Ashley. And as information filtered in, the police did start to suspect that Ward Weaver was involved in the disappearance of Ashley Pond. But no arrests were made because they just had so many suspects and they had no hard evidence that would get them to be able to go to his house and search it. Now, like I mentioned, Miranda was friends with Ashley, and she was very much involved in this case. Like I mentioned earlier, she was interviewed, and in those interviews, she told police all the personal information that Ashley had told her. One of those being that she was sexually assaulted by Ward Weaver. And Miranda, who was not timid at all with her opinion, warned friends continuously to stay away from the Weaver house because she felt that Ward Weaver was dangerous. Now, some theorize that because of this, Ward Weaver eventually came after Miranda, and because of her outspokenness, Ward Weaver's daughter was ostracized in school. And on March 8th of 2002, 2 months after Ashley disappeared, while on her way to the bus stop taking the exact route that Ashley took the day she disappeared, Miranda vanished. Later that day, Miranda's mom was made aware that her daughter never made it to school, and she immediately went to the police and filed a report. And now haunted by 2 disappearances of 2 little girls, the police and the FBI went on a round-the-clock investigation to find any information possible on the whereabouts of Ashley Pond and Miranda Gaddis.
Now we're going to the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, a community understandably racked with fear after 2 young girls believed to have been abducted disappear in a space of 2 months. Now, the first to vanish was 12-year-old Ashley Pond, last seen January 9th walking to a school bus stop. Ashley might have been written off as a runaway, but on March 18th, Miranda Gaddis, Ashley's good friend, also disappeared on her way to school without a trace. Now, the FBI is asking for your help in solving this heartbreaking case.
And I'd like to point out that before Miranda Gaddis went missing the exact same way Ashley Pond did, there were still some theories out there that Ashley Pond had just run away. But that was a really hard theory to keep after another girl around the same age that looked around the same way as Ashley did disappeared, doing the exact same thing Ashley was doing the day she disappeared. And the missing girls' mothers were convinced that whoever took their daughters must have known them. The police also focused on this theory and went on to interview all the same people that they interviewed 2 months earlier when Ashley went missing. Now, some of the information they received did point to Ward Weaver, just as in the case with Ashley Pond, but there was still not enough information to get a warrant to search his premises and bring him in, so still no arrest was made. And I'm not sure if I can blame the police too much on this. They say they didn't have enough information to actually bring him in. I guess I have to take that at face value. The one thing I will hold against the police is that the time when Ashley came out and said that Ward Weaver sexually assaulted her, nothing was done about it. And I think that if things were handled differently and charges were brought up against Ward Weaver at that point in time, both of these girls would still be alive. So a few months later, on August 13th of 2002, Ward Weaver's son called 911 and reported that his father tried to rape his 19-year-old girlfriend. And he also told dispatchers that his father had confessed to murdering Ashley Pond and Miranda Gaddis. And these accusations, along with the attempted rape of his son's girlfriend, gave police a reason to get a warrant to search Ward Weaver's property. And on August 24th, while FBI agents were searching Ward Weaver's property, they found the remains of Miranda Gaddis in an empty microwave box in Ward Weaver's shed. And the following day, they found Ashley Pond's remains in a 55-gallon barrel buried under a concrete slab in Ward Weaver's yard that he stated was put there so that he could install a hot tub later on. So 2 months later, on October 4th of 2002, Ward Weaver was indicted for the murder of Ashley Pond and Miranda Gaddis. He was also indicted on 16 other counts, including sex abuse, attempted rape, aggravated murder, and abuse of a corpse, all of which he pled not guilty. So 2 years later, on September 22nd of 2004, Ward Weaver pled guilty to the murder of Miranda Gaddis and Ashley Pond. And he received 2 life penalties for their murder, but because he accepted a plea deal, he actually avoided the death penalty. So, and let me know what you guys actually think about that. Do you believe in the death penalty, or do you think that it's better to have a person serve life in prison? I would love to know what you guys think. For me, I think life is better just because it forces them to sit there in prison and sort of think about what they did. I know for the most part they probably aren't that remorseful in thinking about what they did, but just the fact that they could do that, I think, is enough punishment for me. But maybe I think differently if someone actually murdered someone who I cared about and who I loved. And something really interesting that kind of shows that Ward Weaver wasn't remorseful for what he did. In 2009, Miranda's younger sister actually visited Ward Weaver on 2 separate occasions. And she said she did so because I had to know what happened. It was the only way I could put it behind me. Now, what's so interesting is what actually happened during one of the visits. So during the visit, Ward Weaver actually admitted that he killed Miranda and Ashley with his bare hands. And he also said that if he hadn't been caught, Miranda's sister, the one who was talking to him in prison, was going to be his next victim. Talk about no remorse whatsoever. Like, how could you even say something like that? And there's so much more I could say about this, but that's where I'm going to end it. I don't want to get too long-winded. But if you guys want to know more information about this, make sure to click those links in the description. I'll always put the links to every website that I get the information for these videos for. And Ward Weaver is a very interesting person because he's not the only person in his family to have committed murders like this. His father actually committed murders similar to him, not children, I don't think, but he actually buried a body underneath a slab of concrete as well. And his son actually ended up killing someone too. So you got 3 generations of killers in one family. And I do want to eventually do videos where I get into a mind of serial killers and sort of go through their history and their background and kind of try to determine what's so different, what happened in their life that made them so different than the normal person. I just think that's so interesting to find out. And I don't know if you noticed, but in videos like this, I usually don't talk about the killer as much as the victims, because these videos are about the victim, not the killers. And there's so many serial killers out there who aren't talked about. I'm not talking about Ted Bundy and guys like that. I mean, the smaller guys like Tommy Lynn Sales, like this guy Ward Weaver, who I personally never heard of before I started making these videos. So if you think that would be an interesting thing to go forward, not every video, just like every other week or so, let me know what you guys think about that. I'm just kind of throwing around ideas at this point. I also want to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed to my channel so far. I mean, I've been doing this for a couple months and I'm over 500 subscribers. I never expected that to happen. So thank you for everyone who's subscribing and watching these videos. I really appreciate you. You can always leave comments on cases you want me to talk about. I have one I'm looking into now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this case and some of the other cases I've talked about, or if you guys, like I said, have a suggestion for a case I should look into, put that in the comments down below. I'll definitely look into it. But until then, I hope you guys continue to have a great day, great week, great month, great year. And I will catch you next video.